Great, I guess for today we have IBP former President Attorney Domingo Cayosa. Sir, magandang hapon and welcome to Storycon. Welcome back.
Good afternoon, Attorney.
everyone.
Good afternoon, Attorney.
Yes, sir. Sir, we're trying to divine what happened with the Solgen. Kasi, okay, layman's thinking, for the longest time we've been thinking na the Solgen basically just lawyers for the administration and for the government and takes the position of government. Now we have a curious case where the Solgen is recusing, still saying he's doing it because this was government's position before. So, is there any nuancing here that we're missing out on? Does the Solgen really have to take government's position, or can it say, no, I cannot?
Can it recuse itself in a very important case like this?
And first, let me just be accurate. The Solgen is not the lawyer of the administration.
Okay, sir.
He is the lawyer of the Republic of the Philippines.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
Yes,
that's
sir.
one.
Okay, that's important.
With
Yes, sir.
respect to, can he recuse himself from handling these cases? Because according to him, he has taken different positions in the sense that he has argued in the past and up to now that ICC does not have jurisdiction. So recusing yourself is something personal to any lawyer. If by conscience or your considered opinion that you cannot defend a particular position, or in his case, I understand that it appears that he was a long-time partner of Attorney Medialdea.
Mm-hmm.
So perhaps that's also one reason. Of course, he's not mentioning it, but he might be also avoiding conflict of interest situation.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but in either case, it is a personal decision. But the fact that the incumbent OSG, Solicitor General, cannot or is unwilling to defend the position of government doesn't necessarily mean that that's the position of the office, the Solicitor General.
Okay,
So,
sir, yes, sir. You're making a distinction between the Solicitor General and the office of the Solgen. In other words,
Yes.
he's the head of the Solgen, the office, pero he may recuse himself, but the OSG can still represent government.
Yes, the OSG continues to represent government. But since this is a very important case, perhaps the one possible logical move forward is after you recuse yourself and you explain your position, which is very marangal for him to do. No? It's a proper thing to do. The next logical step would be also consider letting go of your position
To
because
resign.
you cannot do your job as the Solicitor General.
Yes.
Or
That's
you
exactly
refuse
what we were
to do
saying.
your job because of your personal or your earlier statements of position.
Mm-hmm.
So that could be the case because
So,
it will also be
Attorney,
unfair.
tama yung reaction ng Malacanang. Ang reaction ng Malacanang tinanong nila si OSG can you still do your job?
But I think that's a valid and a fair question because we have to distinguish from our personal position from the official or the position of our position or our office and our job. So if he cannot do it, it might also be proper for him to consider to let go so that somebody else in the office or somebody else who might be placed in his position will be willing and able to defend the current position of government and willing to appear in these actual cases now.
Pero sir, my understanding was that the letter of recusation was presented not as Sergeant Guevara's position, but as the OSG's position. Did I get that right?
Of course. Of course, because he's still the sitting Solicitor General. And he speaks for his office. But it is also, we also have to understand that he can argue that he's not only the lawyer of the government, but he also lawyers for the whole republic, including the taong bayan. But realistically and practically, he's the lawyer of government and all the officials of government. So yun ang mas distinct na kanyang position. If he cannot do it or he refuses, he could consider that follow-through action of letting go of the office, because we also have to think about the fairness to those other bureaucrats and officials being questioned in these petitions filed by the children or the family of the former president. They are also entitled by law to the help and service of the Office of the Solicitor General.
When you say that the Office of the Solicitor General can still represent the government without Guevara, how would that work? That means the other solicitors have to be the one to do the paperwork?
Pero klaro yata yung sinabi ng attorney, he should resign. Not, parang ganun, di ba, attorney, yung sinasabi niya?
Well, we don't...
That's the simplest way. The cleanest way is to let go of the position.
But we don't
Because
know...
it will be very messy, it will be very difficult to explain a position where your deputies are appearing and saying something,
In the
but
head.
in public, you're saying something. So with the credibility. Eh, ikaw yung boss nila eh.
Yeah.
So it cannot, you being a Solicitor General cannot also be optional sa mga kaso. Depende yan sa kaso.
Parang halimbawa doon, halimbawa, attorney, nung inutusan kami ni Pinoy na magsampa ng kaso sa UNCLOS, kung si Hilbay na soldier nun ay tumanggi, ang logical ay mag-resign siya. Actually, kasama namin si Guevara noon as undersecretary na executive secretary. Kasama siya noon sa UNCLOS. No? Ibig sabihin, kung kami ay tatanggi na mag-file sa UNCLOS, then dapat kami mag-resign. Parang logical lang naman yun eh.
Yes, and it's also marangal din yun. Kagaya nung karangalan sa pag-iinsidin, logically din, marangal din yung ibigay mo na lang yung posisyon because hindi naman a matter of right yan. Yung, di ba, ang panumpaan mo, gagawin mo ang iyong trabaho. Kung hindi mo na kaya o ayaw mo or some reasons personal to you, edi ano pang silbi mo bilang public official?
Well,
it will also embarrass to a great extent yung gobyerno mo.
at this point, we don't know if Solicitor General Guevara is resigning or not. So far, he is standing his ground, and the DOJ has taken on the responsibility of defending the government. In your view, Attorney Cayosa, does this weaken the case in any way?
I don't think so. I don't think so. It's a personal position. The DOJ can take on the role, but let's also consider the fairness of the situation. To those other bureaucrats whose actions were questioned and they cannot seek or depend on the help of the OSG because of the particular situation of the incumbent Solicitor General. Let's remember that Solicitor General Maynard Guevara used to be the DOJ Secretary. At sila yung nag-argue, nag-request ICC, i-defer mo na yan. We will prove to you that the justice system is working with respect to the EJ case and the Tokangs, pinagbigyan sila eh. After close to a year, so lubhang ko konti naman yung nag-progress na investigation ng cases. Kaya nagdesisyon yung ICC. You know, I think it would be foolhardy for the Philippine government or us to keep on questioning the ICC jurisdiction because dumaan na tayo sa proseso eh. Nag-appeal na tayo, nag-argue na tayo sa kanila, humingi tayo ng moratorium. Tapos nung nag-desisyon na hindi tayo pinagbigyan, biglang ayaw na naman natin. Para tayong si China na ano dun sa arbitral tribunal. Kung ayaw niya ang desisyon, itatapon na lang. So saan din naman natin pupulutin ang ating bansa in the international community kung ganun tayo?
Yeah.
Pero ang weird dito,
Pero
attorney,
okay lang ba na Department of Justice ang magte-take over? Is that within their mandate?
It can be. It can be.
Ang medyo weird dito,
Pwede
attorney, ay nag-invoke siya ng institutional. Ito daw ay hindi personal, this is institutional. Which only meant na dinamay niya yung opisina ng OSG. In some government offices, this can be called insubordination. Dahil hindi naman siya ombudsman eh. The ombudsman is independent. Yung OSG is autonomous. Pero siya pa rin ay, mismo siya, inamin niya, yung nag-appoint sa kanya, yung pa rin ang kanyang boss. Iba yung autonomous, iba yung independent.
Pero Tito Ronald, ito EO number 300 of 1987 creating the Office of the Solicitor General. Section 1, the Office of the Solicitor shall be an independent and autonomous office attached to the DOJ. It shall continue to perform its functions as provided.
It's not a constitutional body like the...
Yeah, it's not. It's not
iba yun eh.
it's not a commission. Yeah.
Iba yung ibig sabihin ng independence sa kanya. No? Definitely magkaiba.
But sir, baka what this also means when you say independent is that he can have a contrary opinion to what the government is putting forward. In other words, baka there's disagreement between the OSG now and what government did last week.
I doubt that. Dahil wala pa akong nakitang ganun eh, na yung OSG kokontrahin mo yung gobyerno mo.
But again, as
medyo malabo yun,
as Attorney Cayosa is pointing out,
Maybe he's not contradicting. He's just saying I cannot because without saying it, maybe he does not agree.
Pero dinamay mo yung buong opisina mo by imputing institutional decision. Iba yung sinasabi ni attorney na meron kang personal na pag-recuse, which is the logical direction is to resign.
Attorney, what do you think po? Attorney Cayosa.
Attorney.
Yes.
Sorry.
nawala na tayo because of your argument.
Like yung discussion yun.
What do you think po? What do you think? Your thoughts?
It's okay. So it is true that under the OSG law, it is independent and autonomous from the DOJ. But you're correct. It's not like the ombudsman or the COA and the other constitutional commissions. Even if it is independent from the Department of Justice, it is still part of the executive branch. At ang boss ng lahat ng ito, ang presidente. That's why siguro, ang sinasabi niya, I'm waiting for signals from Malacanang. Because if Malacanang gives him the signal na, we cannot work together. It's just like any other lawyer. If your principal or your client says, well, you cannot agree with him, you don't only recuse, but you let go of the job. So, siguro lang, naghihintay siya ng signal from Malacanang. So, perhaps at this point, the ball is in the hands of the Malacanang. It's not the time naman siguro na kapit ko sa kanyang position. He occupied very high position. He doesn't need the conflict at this point.
Hindi pa ba sapat yung sinabi ng Malacanang, attorney? Can you still perform your mandate? Yan ang tinanong sa kanya. Hindi pa ba sapat siya na message?
Graceful exit.
Then that is the message from Malacanang. Then he has to privately, perhaps no longer publicly, respond to it. Kung hindi pa rin niya kaya, the decent thing to do really is let go. You know, that's basic for any lawyer, whether in government or in private sector, private lawyers. Yung inaabogaduhan mo, you cannot support their petition anymore. You cannot be forced, but you cannot also keep on holding the position as lawyer for that government.
Ito, katext ko siya he agreed to be quoted on. I'm talking about Solgen Guevara.
Among others. Hindi.
Kasi sabi ko sa kanya, your decision will have repercussions, of course. Ganun. Sabi niya, I serve at the pleasure of the President. That's important.
That's a standard holding
correct.
statement.
Yeah.
That's a standard holding
Yeah.
statement. Doesn't tell us anything. So is he waiting to be fired or
Oo.
you
At
know?
Tanungin mo na,
tatanggapin
Ed,
niya
total
yung
ka-text
graceful
mo eh.
exit na
Magre-resign ka
offer
ba?
ni Yusek Claire
Oo.
de Castro. No?
Oh, tanungin mo na, Ed. Total
Parang-
ka-text mo. Magre-resign ka ba?
Baka hindi na sumagot eh. Mamaya.
Attorney Cayosa, we haven't spoken to you since this whole thing erupted last week. So backtrack lang tayo for a little bit. And let me ask you about the Article 59 of the Rome Statute, which has come back into debate right now. I thought na-settled na to, pero online there's still a lot of debate about whether or not there was due process given to Duterte, as well as the question of jurisdiction nga. What do you think?
But it is true that there is a particular and clear section in the Rome Statute that says if there's a warrant of arrest from the ICC, the subject of the warrant of arrest is given a chance to go to the local courts to question that or to make sure that his constitutional rights are not trampled upon. The problem with the argument that, we should have followed that forgets the fact that 6 years ago, kumalas na tayo sa ICC eh. So we're no longer, wala tayong legal basis to cite that particular section. Ang existing law natin ngayon with respect to crimes against humanity and similar crimes, yung RA 9851,
951.
which also gives, because a local law, mind you, passed in 2009, it's not a recent law, nauna pa yan. So it simply says if there is an ongoing investigation or case in an international body at meron din dito possibility of investigation or a case, government can actually decide just let go and let the foreign jurisdiction handle the case kasi nandyan na sila and surrender the subject of the case to the jurisdiction of that international body. So, yan ang sigurado. Itong pagka-cite kasi dun sa Rome Statute, conflict dun sa petition, ano na tayo dyan 6 years ago, kumalas na tayo. The only residual obligation of the Republic of the Philippines is that duty to cooperate for cases that were investigated or started before we disengage from the Rome Statute or the ICC. That has already been ruled upon by the Supreme Court. Meron tayong residual obligation. All the other provisions, hindi na tayo bound by that. So medyo malabo na i-cite pa natin yun and seek protection or use that process and claim that process na matagal na natin binasura itong treaty na ito.
Yeah.
Pero sir, I have a
So,
question there.
attorney, kung susundin natin yung 9851, Walang basis yung sinabi ni ES Medialdea sa ICC na extrajudicial rendition daw yung case ni former President Duterte.
Wala.
Medyo maano yung extrajudicial rendition kasi ang ibig ko sabihin ng extrajudicial rendition, walang kabase-basehan yung pag-aresto sa iyo at pag-dakil at pagdala sa ibang country. Ito kasi may warrant of arrest ng ICC. And ICC is not a rogue institution. It is recognized by 125 countries. So we have residual obligations kahit kumalas na tayo. So meron din tayong obligations sa Interpol. So it may not be exactly accurate to say that.
Pero sir, one question lang from my end. I understand nga dun sa 9851, the phrasing is surrender or extradite the accused to the international body or the other state. I understand extradition, of course, will go through, we still have to go through the courts. Pero what about surrender?
Yes, there's a process for
Yes, sir.
extradition.
Under Presidential Decree 1069. Pero what about the definition of surrender? Does that mean that the government or any administration can just surrender a Filipino citizen to another foreign body without having to go through any judicial process?
That's what the law says. Because surrender does not have a technical meaning. Yung extradition kasi has a technical meaning that's defined by international conventions and our own laws. So, daraan ka sa proseso. Ang surrender, wala ko kasing ganun.
It's more political.
So, decision lang yan ng
Gobyerno.
executive branch.
So that's
clear.
That's pretty unilateral. I mean,
Yes.
That's
pretty
the power of the
Yes.
executive.
Kaya nga, yung
Yeah.
batas na yan ay may element ng pagiging political. No? Lalo na kung ang humihingi, nag-issue ng international warrant is the ICC, which is the last
Court of last resort.
the court of last resort. Kaya nga hindi gumagana yung ating system, kaya nga pumunta dyan. Tapos ibabalik mo doon sa system na hindi gumagana, no? Para siya ay hold uli rito. No? So, ganun yung magiging, kaya may element ng pagiging political.
Okay. We've run out of time, though. We'll let you go. Thank you so much for your insights. That was Integrated Bar of the Philippines former President, Attorney Domingo Cayosa. Thank you so much, sir.
thank you, sir.